Hello and welcome back to English class. In today's video we're going to be looking at the Cambridge Advanced Exam for Speaking Part 1 and 2. So guys, this part of the test lasts for roughly 15 minutes. There's 4 parts to the test. The parts involve you having to speak with the examiner, alone, and also with your partner. So when we talk to the examiner or to our partner or alone, it's important to avoid a thing called dead air. Okay, so this means just hesitating or long pauses. So we're really looking to kind of fill these moments of dead air with advanced level language. So let's get into part 1 to start off with. So in part 1, the examiner will ask each candidate a question to do with, for example, their home or hometown, jobs, it could be, hobbies, or even personality. So you could prepare by answering some of these questions and practice how you would answer them first of all. The next important thing to consider is trying to learn key words, not phrases, because in this part of the test, the speaking, we don't really want to sound robotic. We don't want to sound like we are just a machine repeating words that we've learned from a piece of paper. So how long does your answer have to be? Really, you don't want to spend 50 seconds on one answer because you only have 1 minute between you and your partner. So roughly about 30 seconds would be long enough. And I think you would get the idea because the examiner would say, okay, thank you, or something like that, and then ask your partner a different question. So around 3 to 4 sentences might be okay for a question posed to you. Whilst you're not being asked a question, your partner, it's very important that you kind of maintain eye contact between the examiner or even your partner. Don't just sit there and stare at the desk. Okay, so here you could maybe nod your head or you could smile and just pretend that you're really intrigued in what your partner has to say, even if you're really not intrigued. So in part 1, we really want to show off some of our advanced vocabulary. Okay, so this is a step up now from first. We're in advanced, so we really should by now know how to, for example, say other phrases or other structures than I like. Okay, so if we want to say something other than I like, we could say I enjoy, of course, or even I'm fond of. Okay, for example, I'm fond of going to the library on weekends. Or another one could be I'm keen on. I'm keen on fishing. Yeah, I'm keen on fishing with my father every Saturday, for example. So here we want to use kind of different ways and avoid repeating the same thing. For example, if we were to use the adjective difficult, what would be another adjective we could use? Challenging. Okay, my work is challenging. It really requires a lot of attention and a lot of dedication, diligence possibly, and then you go on and develop your answer. We also have to use something called collocations as well, or we don't have to, but it would be a good idea to incorporate some collocations. Instead of saying the amount of work you have, you could say the workload. Okay, and a collocation with workload could be heavy workload. So if you have lots of work to do, be it at school, be it at your workplace, the heavy workload I have at school or at work really affects my social life. So if you want, you can go back to the questions that I showed you at the start and practice using some of these different ways of saying I like, or even using some collocations. And of course, guys, there's plenty of material on the web, on the internet, so all you have to do is search English collocations advanced and you'll have a ton of vocabulary to use or at your disposal. Let's move on to part 2. In part 2, here we're given 3 photos. We have to choose 2 photos, okay, and we have to talk about these 2 photos for 1 minute. Okay, so the examiner will present us with a piece of paper and then we have to not describe but compare 2 of the photos. Now, we have a very nice structure to do so. A very nice way of comparing the 2 photos you're going to talk about is to start your discourse with both. both pictures 1 and 3 show, and then you say what you see in the photograph between the photographs. What is there in common? Both photos show people eating outdoors. Okay? The pictures are almost always about people. The question would be something like, I would like you to choose 2 pictures, compare and say why the people might or may or something like that, they may be doing something in this situation. So these words, may or might, are called speculation or speculative or even modal verbs really. But here we want to use some speculation. We want to speculate. How do we do that? Well, in the photos, we don't know that something is concrete, do we? We don't know that something is 100% happening. So here we have to use phrases like, it seems like, or it could be, it might be, it may be. Okay, so some of these modal verbs. And also you could start speculating at the start of the sentence. Perhaps the woman in photo 2 is not enjoying herself because. Or even maybe the person in photo 3 is feeling down in the dumps. Okay, and then say why. It's very important you justify your answer. Okay, so we're speculating, we're imagining what's happening in the photographs. So imagine you're presented with this photo now. You could say both pictures 1 and 2 show people wearing hats. Apart from starting your discourse with both, the next sentence could be while. Okay, so we have both and now while. While in photo 1, the person, the police officer, is wearing his hat because it is part of his uniform, comma. In photo 2, the people sat on the bench next to the lake or the river are wearing their hats because they want to protect themselves from the sun, for example. So here we have both, while. The next word would be whereas. Okay, this whereas would be used kind of in the middle of the sentence. For example, the police officer in picture 1 might be using his helmet as a form of protection against criminals, against thieves, against people who are not law-abiding citizens. Whereas the people in photo 2, etc., etc. So essentially you have 3 key words to structure your discourse: both, while, and whereas. Very important. So I'm going to leave you with a photo now with 2 questions you have in the exam and 3 photographs. So choose your 2 photographs, compare them, and then speculate. Okay? But remember, you only have 1 minute, so it's very important you compare straight away. Okay, so both photos show people doing etc., etc. Okay, so have a go now. Okay guys, so just remember, after your 1 minute you've spoken for, your partner will answer a question about your photos for 30 seconds. Okay, so after your 1 minute with your photos, 30 seconds about your photographs, and then vice versa. Your partner speaks about his or her photos for 1 minute, and then you speak about his or her photos for 30 seconds. Okay? 1 minute, 30 seconds. 1 minute, 30 seconds. Okay, so I hope that's clear, guys. That's part 1 and part 2 of the advanced speaking. I'll be doing a video on part 3 very shortly, so if I've done it, you'll probably be able to click here sooner or later and check that one out too. So that's been all from English class today. I hope you liked the video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and see you in the next one. Goodbye for now.